going to call on a few people just to see. I'm going to test your listening skills, and I'm going to call on you, and I'm going to ask, who did you meet? Say their name, and what did that other person share? Does that make sense? So don't share what you share what the other person shared. So, Rika, raise your hand. Who's your partner, and what did they share?
I met Eleanor, and she said that she met you over the phone, and you guys talked for an hour.
Yeah, that's how
and today's the first time that she met you, and you guys met each other. And she said that her husband is an inspiration.
Good answer.
And her other friend, I forget her name, is also an inspiration. And yeah, that there's been some life changes that her husband and her friend had impacted her with. And so, yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. How about Hamdal?
Oh.
Who did you meet?
I'm Kathy.
Kathy, okay. I think you guys know each other from before.
But it's been more than 10 years, so
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Okay,
that
that's
we
like
don't really know each other.
Okay, go ahead.
So, church. I'm pretty sure you know that.
Yes.
Yes. And the many students that she works with every day in her ministry and
Great. Derek.
All right, Nancy, I met one of your old summer camp counselors. I'm bad with names.
His name is?
And he was telling me how he's inspired by this paraplegic who still goes out on adventures such as surfing.
Wow. Curious how that happened.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, he's also a Christian speaker, so he goes around the world speaking.
Oh, Nick,
He's like limbless when he's born that way, no legs, no arms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. How about Quincy?
Hello, I met Sam here. She knew Nancy through somebody over here. Julius. And to her, inspiration, or the word inspired, thinks of Jesus, and the words humility, inner strength, and passion.
Oh, good memory, Quincy. Great. Billy.
All right. I'm going to have trouble with her name. Sean?
Jovi.
Joe.
Close.
She said it, I was like, And I don't want to guess because I have forgotten how she knows you. How was it again?
I didn't share.
You didn't share.
You're on the right track.
Because you didn't ask. No, just kidding.
Okay. And then
We were, Minister?
We were housemates.
housemates.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you. And she's inspired by her spiritual mother, Donna.
Very cool. Very cool. And let me call one last person on this side of the room, Mark.
How's it going, everybody? I met James, Lee, Sabrina. Sorry for I met these guys too, but I forgot your names. That's a lot of people. Kathy and
Andrew.
Audrey. Yeah. What I learned from these guys is pretty much everyone here in common revolved around mine, which was faith. What inspired every one of us around here was just like the fact of church's teachings such as unity, moral beliefs, and those characteristics that help build us up. And what my support was from faith was having that power or belief that whatever you have in your mind, you can make it and develop into reality.
Very cool. Great. Thank you. Well, thanks everyone for sharing. As you can see, there's many pictures, images definitions of inspiration and inspire. And tonight, I just want to give you guys another picture of what it means to inspire. So tonight, we're going to have 10 people coming up to inspire us with what they're passionate about. And again, it could be a service that they provide. It could be a product that they're marketing. It could be a cause that they're passionate about or involved in, etc. So these are the 10 people who are going to be sharing. And I'm very excited. Each one of these people, I think, have something to offer. And I know some people practice a lot and some people didn't practice at all. But the good thing is I hope you guys feel that this is a safe room, that it's okay if we mess up, whatever. Just don't go over 7 minutes. And I like to say that when it's something this short, it's kind of like the weather in other states. If you don't like it, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Right? So for those of you that are presenting, after 5 minutes, I'm going to hold up this, which means you have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. After that, I'm going to hold this up, which means you have 1 minute left. And after this, I'm going to hold up this, which says stop. And then after that, I'm going to chuck it at you. Right? So please try to keep it within the time frame, just out of respect for everyone else that's presenting. And I just want to say that the reason why, if you guys haven't seen my YouTube video yet, the reason why I came up with this idea is because in my 35th year, I have been so inspired by a lot of my friends who do things. And I'm just like, wow. Like, Ted, I just bought life insurance from him, and just hearing like all this stuff that he knows, I'm just like very inspired by his knowledge. And like, I was like, people should know about this. And then Kathy here works with Urban Youth. And Mike and I go down and visit her every now and then, and I get to be a guest speaker there, and I'm so inspired by what she does. And there's a lot of you guys. Jennifer is a teacher, but also at nighttime, she does floral design and events. She has a part-time job that she's really passionate about. And I get to see all her Facebook pictures of flowers and such. So all these things, I'm like, you guys should get this out there. I know you guys put it on Facebook, but I'm like, let's put it in front of a live audience and share what you're passionate about. And who knows, you might just inspire someone. Yay. So let's start off. We have a very eclectic list of things that we're going to be doing today. We're going to actually start off with Jovi. So let's give a hand to Jovi. Sorry.
I literally have like 3 different outlines and I couldn't choose them, so I had to forget about it. Yeah, so some of you saw me doing my thing over there, stretching. It's actually Pilates. And last couple months I have to do that instead of ballet, which I really like because I got my feet swollen, like they were real big. And it forced me to have to rest and slow down and spend time with God. And I think in the process with reflection, I realized it's actually my heart condition, really, that leads to this. So I was at 2 extremes. Either I'm like trying to get busy to numb the desire for either connection, belonging, security, or I would just get, I just do things my way, trying to find it, through relationship, family, do just stuff. And so it just led to a lot of stress and actually isolation. I didn't even realize I actually felt like isolated, like even though, busy life and work. So I think because of that, like the slowing down, I was able to really experience like what I'm looking for, what my heart's looking for through like time with God, and just really feel like I can rest. Like I don't have to be someone else or do more things. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. And also worship flags is one of the ways and expression I use to that the way I connect with Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and also my way to say thank you to Him. That way, like literally free me from so much problems. And I mean, I'm still have these struggles, but I think I just have more peace and peace and love, according to my friends. And you'll see the Pi Hop thing, a card. If you like the song, you can. It's actually free. You can find it on David Breimer's album on Pi Hop website. And that's also one community that helped me feel like I'm not alone. That I can connect with people and be supported and encouraged. And you can also support them as well. And there's healing, stuff like that. Just talk to me afterwards if you're interested. And if you
Give ear to my words. Consider my sight, my King and my God. For to you I pray.
Jovi because she's the most free-spirited person I know. We used to live together. She used to live with me and Mike. And when we went clubbing, different dance. When we were standing in line, and there's all these people looking cool and hard in their clothes, Jovi's like, let's do exercise, let's stretch before we get in the club. And she get everyone in line to do stretches. It was just so fun. I just love how free-spirited she is. She's so comfortable in her skin, and I think there's such a beauty in that. So thank you, Jovi, for sharing that. Next up, actually before we do that, there's some people in the back. There's seats all around here, so please have a seat. And for those of you guys that filled out the card, if you could actually, the card that said what you were inspired by or the inspiration, if you could pass it to the side. Quincy and Mike are going to collect those cards, so they're going to do something with it. And speaking of, the next inspiration we have is Quincy and Mike. Mike is my youngest brother, and Quincy is his girlfriend, I think? Okay. I wasn't sure of the status. Oh, this card.
Oh, can we have the clicker?
Oh, sorry. You need a clicker.
Okay, so if we didn't collect all the cards, hold on to it and we'll get later.
Hello, you already know me as Mikey, her younger brother.
And I'm Quincy.
And today we're presenting about Project Extraordinaire. Project Extraordinaire means to encourage, inspire, and drive those around us. And our goal is to be an outlet to other people so they can express their feelings through paper, through peers, or even through self-reflection. And that's what we are. We are Project Extraordinaire, and we are that outlet.
So how do we do that? We host projects, workshops, and events to get you as community members to get in touch with your inner selves. Our projects are, we give you this opportunity to, think about things like what are some goals that you want to achieve in the long term, or how do you see yourself in 5 years, personal things like that. And as your outlet, our projects are put in public spaces. So we envision like a community where individuals will see these see things that you write and share to the public, and hopefully be influenced by that, inspired, or even empowered to share their ideas and what they believe with others. And we really hope that people are moved by this to tell their peers or their friends and family to do the same, and just kind of believe in what your own beliefs, and really get in touch with yourself.
And for example, we also have these other projects like our bucket list, which is we went to the beach personally and then put it out so other people can write down what they want to do essentially before they die, kind of thing. Well, not as dark as that, but And this one we have our thankful tree, where we go to our local shops and we put it up, well, ask for permission of course, and we ask them what are they truly thankful for, and maybe hopefully they realize what they've been taking for granted. And in this next picture, we have our successful Open Mic Night charity event, where we raised $180 for orphanages in Baja, Mexico, sponsored by Corazon de Vida. And in this one, we have the I'm Beautiful project, where we also went to the beach and asked other people why they think they're beautiful, not just their physical attributes, but their personality-wise and what makes them stand out.
So we've had many successes with our past projects and events, and for this month, because it is November and going into December, it's like the month of giving. We called our theme is called Simple Gestures, and one of our main events for this month is the More for Less donation event. So what we're doing is on the 16th, we're gathering at a park in Costa Mesa, and we're going to be making pillows for individuals at homeless shelters. It's one of our main items that we want to do, just a little cozy for the winter. But if we raise enough funds, we want to actually make care packages. And we're actually, it's on the 16th, so we're going to invite you guys to come join us in this little fun activity to help the homeless shelters and just to meet new people. So yeah, the amount of, or the number of pillows that we make is dependent on the funds that we receive. So we're asking you if you can help support our event and make so that we raise enough to make like hundreds of pillows.
And this time, instead of just talking about our projects, we're actually bringing one to you today. Today, since we're all about from within, and Nancy's theme is about inspiration, we're calling this Within Inspiration. And with the cards that you guys wrote about the inspiration, we're actually going to put them together and showcase to you probably at the end, I believe, on a board so you guys can all see what you wrote. And if you guys are scared about like personal things, don't worry, we'll rewrite it, I think.
Oh,
Or not.
well, like, I mean, if there's something more personal that you guys want to add to this board that we're going to create, we have extra papers and you can really think about, what really inspires you and write. And it's anonymous, you won't be judged or whatever. We're in a safe place, so feel free to let us know and we'll give you another piece of paper. And if, like I said, if we didn't collect it yet, just hold on to it. Okay, so yeah, we just want to say thanks, and we hope that you will support our future projects and help us continue to be like an outlet for your creative action. And we actually have, like I said, we have more papers for you guys to fill out, and we left like little bags on the ends of each row. It's under your seat. Okay, not each row, but every other row. If you want to help us with our, our More for Less event, or just to help fund for our future projects, you're welcome to donate.
And as we say, together,
we
can be
Oh, no.
extraordinary. Or not. Or not.
Do it again.
Do it again. Retake.
Okay, as we say, together we can be extraordinary. I just wanted to say thank you for my sister for allowing us to do this. And thank you for coming out.
All right, so those of you guys that knew Mikey when he was younger, like this, right? Do you guys remember when he was like this? He actually looks a lot, or Sawyer looks a lot like Mikey when he was younger. But I'm just really proud of Quincy and Mikey because they're in their early 20s. Mike goes to Golden West College, Quincy goes to UCI, and most kids in their 20s are out clubbing or doing who knows what, right? And
Like you guys.
I know, like I still do love it. But in their early 20s, you have a lot of time, and they're spending their time making an impact and inspiring other people, going up and meeting strangers and asking them questions and doing all these things. And I had mentioned that I had asked that you guys didn't have to give me a birthday gift, and if you wanted to give me a birthday gift, I'd love for you to donate to whatever cause or anything inspirational today that you see. So that's one option to donate to as well. Great. Okay, so next up we have Billy. Come on down.
We'll leave the notes over there. Otherwise, I'll depend on them too much. Not going to be cute or anything, 'cause it's not me. Because I'm 57, closer to the dead part, I think they talked about. I'm going to start by just talking about, this is a banana. Everybody knows what a banana is?
Oh, I thought someone just left it up there.
No, I actually brought this on purpose. I love bananas. I eat them almost every day, a banana every day. I don't know why I love bananas. I don't know when I decided in my life that a banana was what I wanted, that I was going to love this. And I was talking to my 17-year-old daughter, and she hates bananas. And I asked her, why don't you like bananas? And she just said to me, she goes, I don't know, I just don't like them. I said, when did you decide you didn't like a banana? She told me, I don't know. This is a piece of cheese, string cheese. Years ago, when I was young, and I can't tell you exactly how old I was, I decided I didn't like cheese. I hated cheese. And so I went for 25 years and refused to have anything with cheese on it. Well, then one day, I met this very attractive lady, and she invited me over for dinner. And what did she serve? Something with cheese on it. So, because she served it, I ate the cheese. And I discovered I really like cheese. And I also discovered that somewhere along the line, as a child, I had made a decision that was governing how I was being the rest of my life. 20 plus years, not liking cheese, because somewhere along the line, 5-year-old Billy decided he didn't want to eat cheese. So think about it. Everybody's got something like that in their lives. You got likes, you got dislikes. You got the way you show up in life, and you got the way you don't show up in life, the way you refuse to show up in life. If I were to invite you to skydive right now, let's go out skydiving. We're in REI, probably a good place to do it.
That's right.
Okay, some of you would say, no freaking way. And some of you would say, yeah, let's do that. All right? When did you decide that you couldn't do it? And when did you decide that you could? Most of these decisions were happening somewhere in the past. We don't even know why we made the decisions most of the time. But these things are influencing who we are today and how we show up. I tell you, or I'm going to assert, there's a whole gigantic list of these things in the back of our minds that is telling us constantly what we are and what we are not, what we're capable of and what we're not capable of. And these things are getting in the way of how we live our lives. And I like to refer to these are my little inner belief systems. I don't know where they came from, but I suspect there's somewhere there's 8-year-old Billy in back there making the decisions. And not 57-year-old Billy, I just retired 2 weeks ago as an engineer. Successful career, 31 years at Boeing. I've been married almost 30 years, so I'm doing something at least right, a little bit. I have 3 children. They're all pretty good, pretty good. They don't hate me, they still love me, which is a good thing. But somewhere, and I still see it today, no matter how much I work on it, 8-year-old Billy shows up. And I'll give you an example. I will have a discussion with my wife, and she'll get upset with me. And when I look back at it, I realize, boy, I came across as a little kid. Didn't want to be. I want to be an adult. I want to be a man. I want to be courageous. I want to have character. And yet when I come across to my wife, in that particular instance, she gets little boy, not man. And then I have to come back and do the little boy thing. I'm sorry. I know how many of you have had to do that before, where you just find yourself behaving in a way that when you look back on it, you go, what the heck? I would never choose that. And yet it's still happening. Okay? So I'm talking about an event that we have coming up. An event that talks about our belief system. An event that puts you in a situation where you get to discover what beliefs are operating in your lives and how they're getting in the way. And it's a specific type of event. It's called the impact training. It's how I am impacting others. And if you think about it from a Christian perspective, it is a Christian training. You don't have to be a Christian to go to it, but might make it easier. I wasn't when I went to it, by the way. I'll tell you that in a minute. But it's about aligning these beliefs with my intentions so that I can have these outcomes of love, passion, joy with others. That I can actually put together a vision that would stand for something bigger than myself, and that I can actually impact the world in such a way that makes a difference. And I can just get out of my own way. And what's it going to take for me to get out of my own way? If I'm going to try to love people, then I got to find out what is it about Billy that's preventing him from loving. It's not that easy. I started this work 11 years ago. I went to a training. This friend of mine, Dan over here, enrolled me to go. I said, oh, I'm going to go do this.
1 minute!
I spent 6 minutes already. And I went to this training as an atheist. I went to this training not believing in anything but what I could get. I came out of the training with a vision of what I can have with my wife. A love and passion that I don't have today, that I haven't had before that. Matter of fact, I've been in an affair for 6 years at the time I went into the training. I was a sex addict. I had had multiple affairs in the past. I came out of the training, and my stand for my wife was that she would have someone worth loving, worth being with, worth sharing the rest of her life with. Even though I had no idea how it was going to turn out, I set myself upon this journey. And I'm here today, still married, with creating an entirely new legacy for my children. And
Time!
You didn't say time yet.
Sorry,
That's
I
your
was-
friend, right?
I was mesmerized. I forgot to keep track.
For those of you, has anybody ever taken a training like this before? This basically has meaning only if you've been in the training. You know, what I'm inviting you is to consider the possibility of attending an event like this. We're actually going to hold one this December. It's the first event in Southern California in a year. These opportunities don't come around very often. Matter of fact, the last event they had, Donna's husband back there was the one who held it. And it's basically a chance to go into an experiential event, a training that challenges you to take yourself on so that you can take on a future that is not possible presently. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for being timekeeper for me. I totally forgot about the time. Just FYI, I just met Billy, Dan, and Eleanor today. You know, I just invite random people to my birthday. But actually, the reason how I know them is actually I'm going to be on the Impact team with them in December. And I'm very excited because Mike and I actually went to an Impact training 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
It's been a long time.
Not very good at time.
I don't know numbers, I'm a math major. So Lee was actually in it. How many of you guys have been through an Impact or Breakthrough or one of these trainings?
Breakthrough.
So like, well, 4, 5, 6 years, 7. Yeah, Jovi went with us that year too. And we went into it kind of like, what the heck is this? We're like, it costs money. It takes a lot of time to get off work for this. And I tell you, it changed our life. You know, and I don't say that lightly. Everyone that actually went through it said that that was the best money they've ever spent. That was, like when I look back, like the Impact training is something that I remember in my life. I don't remember the days of work that I went, you know, the days that I missed, but I remember those days that I went. So anyway, so I invited Billy to come and share about it because Billy and Dan are going to be the sponsors of this training. Do you guys have to bring flyers by any chance?
We did. We put them on chairs, so if you have there's a flyer in everybody's chair.
Okay, so there's flyers there. If there's anyone that's interested, I'm going to be on the team, so I'm super excited. That means that if you're there, if you're coming, I'm going to be there to support you, and I'm going to walk with you in this too. So all the information is on there, and if you guys want more information, you guys could ask the 3 of them during the intermission, or ask me, but I don't know that much, but ask them. But I'll tell you my experience, or you could ask Mike or whatnot. But it's something that I highly recommend, and if I could, I would, pay for all of you guys to go, but I can't afford it. So next up, we have Rika and Suzette. Come on down.
Thanks, everybody. Ooh, there's more people than when I sat down in the front. Okay, good. While Rika's setting up, I'm Suzette Magana. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And Rika is a marriage and family therapist intern. And we both have private practices in Long Beach and in Garden Grove. We gave you guys some cards for what we're going to present so that you have the information. We also gave a contact sheet. You want to fill that out. We just want to be a resource to you. So even if you don't need a therapist, or if you don't like us and you don't want us to be your therapist, contact us because we can get you what you need if you need help in the mental health field, okay? So you can email us or call us at any time, and I think both of our numbers go to our cell. So feel free to contact us if you need any kind of help or if you have family members or friends that need it. Okay?
And you're just sharing about the things on the.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, Sisette. We're so excited to be here, and thanks Nancy so much for allowing us to be part of this. Today we want to talk about healing with community. And before we talk about this, I just wanted to pose a question. So how many of us felt exhausted this past week? Yeah, a lot of hands. How many of us felt worried and fearful of situations that we're in? Some, okay. So some of us might have felt lonely or depressed, isolated. Jovi kind of talked about isolation. And last question. How many of you wanted to strangle your husbands on the way here? Be right here. Just kidding. My husband's right there. So, let's see. Each of us are like this cup. We were meant to be whole, but when life circumstances become out of our control, we get stressed out, and a lot of negativity starts to fester within. And so these holes symbolize some of our anxiety, depression, anger, irritability. And some of the statements that we start believing about ourselves is, I'm so alone. No one cares about me. I'm not good enough. How come everyone seems so normal except for me? Or those who are married, we might have thoughts like, this marriage isn't what I thought it would be. And so if we continue being stuck and allowing these holes to be inside us, we start to feel lifeless and empty and depleted. But we have a choice. Are we going to do something about it and try to be whole like this cup? Or do we stay stuck in our misery?
When Rika and I first met, one thing that we're really passionate about is therapy, because we're therapists, lots of training to do that. Another thing that we're passionate about, though, is growing in community. And it's really important to do both. It's important to seek out mentors and people that you trust, and professionals even if needed. And it's important to be with people and learn with people and live life with people and grow. So we want to give an opportunity for us to come to you. Instead of someone coming to a therapist, we want to be able to offer workshops where we can come to you in your church, at your work, but a lot of therapists do that. We want to offer the opportunity to come to your house. And my husband and I do a lot of like what we call family dinners. We have like 3 other couples that we get together, and everyone's got their babies, and it's very low stress. And we all cook dinner together, and it feels like a family meal. And we were talking about how interesting it would be if we came to other people as they're throwing those kind of dinner parties, or they just order pizza, it doesn't have to be high stress cooking or anything, and we came and presented information that would benefit the group as a whole. Then you're learning something as a whole, and then after we leave, then you get back together and you can talk about it. The concepts really would work really well for small groups with different churches, or like us, like family dinners or actual family. You know, if you like your family's going through something as a group and you invited us in and we could talk, it would be maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times depending on the topic. And that way also, like therapy, we could tailor it to what the need is. So if someone in your family, if you have a friend that passes away, we could come there and teach you about grief and loss and walk you through some ideas. It wouldn't be ongoing, that would be in a workshop format. So we thought of some topics. These are general ones, and we have a few expertise. I'm building sex addiction expertise right now, and we have a few others, but these are more general, so I want to give you some ideas of what we would be doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the workshops themselves, and these can be with a Christian perspective or not. Enrica's going to share the spiritual component to it. She's more spiritual than I am, so that's fine. Just kidding. So the first one is we want to talk about trauma, anxiety, and depression, or depression. And the idea there, we have some therapists in the room. Can I say what? Anybody? Okay. So the idea there, basically, we call it cognitive behavioral work. So how our thinking and how our emotions and what we do interact, and how changing thinking then changes those emotional responses that are the things that get to us, like things that create depression and anxiety. And then also how those things affect our behavior. So if we are in better control of what we think, then we won't be as overwhelmed by how we feel, and then we don't do stupid stuff, right? So an example would be, I'll use my husband, since Rika already shouted out her husband.
Not an example.
We'll make it an easy one. So if I'm mad at my husband, if I can change my thinking and bring reality into my anger, right? So if my thinking is, he never does what I want, right? And then I go, no, not true. Like, he took me to dinner last week, he did this last week. Like, I can come up with examples of truth. I'm changing my thinking. My anger reduces, and then I don't go home and scream at him, right? Thinking, feeling, doing. Henry likes that one. So that's an example of some teaching perspectives. And if you're doing that in community, then you have the people that know you and love you that can shout you out and say, yeah, you do that. And then we can talk about how to change those. My husband has plenty of those examples for me.
1 minute.
So another one is talking about trauma and anxiety, and how things that have happened to us in the past affect our behaviors now, and how to get unstuck from those things, similar to the impact training. We want to talk about marriages. So friendship in a marriage, how important that is. It's the most important part of it, and how to fight well, how to fight right? So like how to learn how to discuss things that are difficult without criticism, without defensiveness. And then the third one is grief and loss. And we like this particularly for our group because a lot of groups go through loss together. So learning what grief looks like, and how even if it's not losing a loved one, but just changing something, graduating from college, getting married, things that are good, we still have to grieve those changes. And by grieving them, then we can move on to the next thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Rick is going to talk a little bit about spiritual and integrating the Lord into these things.
So some of the ways that we can see spiritual integration in trauma, anxiety, grief, loss, depression, couples, and marriage work is through prayer. Sounds like there's a lot of believers in this room. So those who are familiar with scripture and passages, we know Psalm 23. So for example, as we're doing deep breathing exercises, like some of us do in yoga, where there's a lot of relaxation, right? When there's tension in our body, we need to do a lot of breathing. And so as we close our eyes, we can think of maybe 1 or 2 passages from Psalm 23, like the quiet waters, right? When Jovi was doing her dance, like the green and the blue flags, wow, that's a powerful visual right there. Like I felt relaxed, just watching her. Mm-hmm. So in the same way, we can, close our eyes and just visualize that quiet water next to us, running and just, flowing through us, and seeing the shepherd, which is Christ himself, walking alongside with us and restoring our soul. So definitely scripture meditation is key, right? And prayer as well. In fact, I saw a recent documentary on the function of the brain and prayer. This neuroscientist from UPenn, he did a study and found that the frontal lobe of our brain lights up every time we pray. So it's as if we're really connecting with someone. And I thought that was so fascinating. So going back to this visual, we don't have to remain stuck like this, where we're constantly being depleted, but we need to be replenished, right? And so in order for us to be replenished and filled, we need that living water, right? And so I don't have real water here because it will get messy. But in the context of community, we need to receive support. And that's when our cups get filled. We need people to validate us, affirm us, empathize with us, right? And feel our pain together. And when that happens in the context of a safe place, like Billy shared earlier, it begins to overflow. And it pours over into our children, our spouses, our family, our parents, right? And so we're less demanding, right? And
we're more forgiving, we gain more understanding, less complex, and we begin to form a healthier relationship with those close to us. And then from there, it pours over to our community, our workplace, our schools, and yeah, to the world. So how many of us here long for that today? How many of us want that fill, that overflow? How many of us need to be replenished? So we're like this cup overflowing rather than being depleted here.
So I want to share this with you guys, and feel free to fill out the cards. No mailing lists, we promise, but contact us if you need help. Okay, thanks so much for your time.
Was there a form, you said it was underneath their chair?
Oh yeah, I put the forms on the chairs with everyone's cards and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It looks like this. I got pens.
So you guys are more than welcome to talk to them during the intermission to ask them more questions about that as well. I've never heard of that idea before, of going into the homes and doing these group dinners. That's great. You don't have to pay for office space.
Yeah.
That's really great. Before we go to intermission, we actually have another, one more person, and we're going to do an intermission with cake and food.
Oh, yeah.
More food. This is Janie. Janie, come on up. So this is an impromptu one.
Yeah, so actually I wasn't prepared to come up here and speak, but just last minute I told Nancy, you know what, this ministry I'm really passionate about really deserves the awareness. So this ministry that church that I go to that we've started is at the Royal, it's a Royal Mental Health Care Center. So it's a rehabilitation for just people with mental instability. And so they're residents, so they're housed there up to about 90 days. And so the reason why I wanted to share about it is because it's really, I think it's kind of unknown and not a lot of, there's so many ways to serve out there, but really this is an area that's really not touched that often. But we've had the blessing and the opportunity just to make it inside this facility. It's, you know, it's a lockdown facility. And so we go there about twice a month, and we would have, so we would have like kind of like a small service or like a Bible study there, someone to do worship and another person to share, you know, message and about scripture. And so far we've been doing this for about a year, and it's been really great, and we've seen how much of an impact it's brought on the people. And you know, I like how one of the staff there had shared about this ministry is that it's almost like a country where you're not allowed to speak about God or to build a church. So it's kind of like that, but and having the opportunity to, or invited to come and share about the gospel, and to be able to say the name of Jesus, and to just worship and really teach, you know, scriptures. And so just having the opportunity is just, it's really precious. And so if anyone has any question, even Nancy she also comes regularly to speak and to share the word as well. And I think also just the importance of it is in light of, you know, all the different tragics that you see like on TV about shootings, like mass shootings or suicide and things like that, is that I've noticed just that a lot of the root cause of it, from what I believe we're seeing, is through, you know, some sort of mental instability that caused a person to do something like that. And so just being in this facility and seeing these people and talking to them, it's just been a real blessing just to see the change and to see how scripture and God's word just really affect, you know, their lives. There are people that maybe are usually just in their rooms always in their beds, never really coming out, but coming out to one of the session and just being able to hear, you know, scripture and just the truth that just the difference it makes and that you see in their life. And yeah, so so really I just want to share about this ministry, and really it just took like a simple phone call to this facility and ask, you know, our church is really interested in maybe just having like a Bible study or a group. And it took a few tries before our facility would open that up, because normally, again, this type of security and lockdown facility would not allow something like this, or to even pass out Bibles, or to even worship like that. Is not often, you know, done in a place like this. So, but you know, it is possible, and so I just wanted to share about it and spread that, you know, just in case maybe you know someone who has a heart for these type of people or places like that, that it's not impossible, you know, and God has opened this door for this particular place in Santa Ana for us to be there on a regular basis, you know, to have service and to spread the good news. So, yeah, again, if you have any questions, I'll be here, or Nancy as well, because again, she's been a big part of it as well. So. So Janie might seem like a shy and timid girl, but don't let that fool you. She pioneered this whole thing of getting us into this mental institution, and she's pioneered and created like anyway, she made it happen. That every week or every month or so, we get to go in, and I get to spend about 30 minutes a month. That's all I spend, 30 minutes a month. And Julius has been there. Julius, raise your hand. He's also a speaker there. And we get to be there with those who have these mental illnesses, and then we're able to just be able to be a source of, you know, comfort to them for that period of time. So Janie is totally an inspiration to me, because it makes me realize, you know, you don't have to be loud and all out there to make change. Here's a quiet Janie who, you know, who moves things, who gets things happening. So thank you, Janie. At this time, we are going to have an intermission, so feel free to get more food. We're going to cut up the cake. The cake is, so let me give you a little background of the cake. The cake is practically like a gourmet wedding cake, and partly because my wedding, I didn't even eat my wedding cake. I think we forgot to do the cake testing too. So I missed out on the whole cake experience. So I was like, you know what? My 35th birthday, I'm going to get a gourmet cake. And it's thanks to my brother, Andrew. Andrew, raise your hand. Woo! He picked it up for us, and he's the one that introduced me to kind of this type of cake. It's a mixed berry cake, and it's humongo. So please help yourself. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You're to sleep. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nancy. Happy birthday to you. All right.
I didn't like the
Good job.
Sorry, you should have tapped me off.
It was so good.
Wait, you're in the costume,
No. Just
You know there's a rapper in this room? Yeah. All right, Mark, come on up. Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? So My name is Mark. I go by Ma Keys. Once again, I want to say happy birthday. Thank you to Nancy and for everyone that's been presenting lately. Like every one of you that's came up before me, it's been really inspiring and showing me different ways that how to reach out and help the community in ways that I haven't even like thought of myself. And just knowing that every one of you guys want to and are already changing the world in a better place. So. Can you bring the volume up a little? Check it. Dreaming big like Martin Luther King, following a passion, knowing money isn't everything. Building teams to see into side, realizing knowing money is anything to win. And when one stands out, taking any opportunity. Taking any opportunity.
Is that over?
We all got. Alright. Sorry about that. You guys can't stand up for me, please? Let's go. Check. Check. Mic test. Check. Big dreams, big goals. Check it. Dream big like Martin Luther King, following a passion, knowing money isn't everything. Building teams to succeed is a side, realizing holding unity is the only way to win. And when one's left out, was one to stand out, taking any opportunities over any self-doubts, but the winds found throughout. None fall short under any black clouds. We all got big dreams, big goals, but it doesn't mean a thing if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. We all got big dreams, big goals, but it doesn't mean a thing if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. To live a life for shoulda, coulda, wouldas means you one man up to ever step up. But today you plead dirt for the last year, like actions validate the past for a second chance. Quit blaming on your upbringing and use it as your motive of why you keep striving harder day by day by day by day. Learning how to fall through and always staying hungry. Dream big like Martin Luther King, following a passion, knowing money isn't everything. Building teams to see it's a side, realizing hoarding unity is the only way to win. And when one's left out, was one to stand out, taking any opportunities over any self-doubt. For the ones deep out throughout, we'll never fall short under any black clouds. We all got big dreams, big goals, but it doesn't mean a thing if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. We all got big dreams, big goals, but it doesn't mean a thing if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. Yeah, you can fall short, so what? Back up, spring up, just never give up. There's always a handful that never show love, and when they hear dreams, they don't want to see it done. So why let it stop you? Cause if it keeps you true, then you should pursue and move one step closer, one step closer. Just never tell you something because you cannot do. Dreaming big like Martin Luther King, following a passion, knowing money isn't everything. Building dreams to see into side, realizing hoarding unity is the only way to win. And what one's left out was one to stand out, taking any opportunities over any self-doubts, but the ones deep out throughout will never fall short under any black clouds. We all got big dreams, big goals, but it doesn't mean a thing if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. We all got big dreams, big goals, but if the world doesn't know. And those big dreams, big goals are the only things we hold control. Dream big, but live bigger. Devout and prosper. Get a mind of a winner. Get a mind of a winner. Yeah. Check it. Got a mind of a winner, refuse to be a quitter. This is my dream, so I just can't let it go. No,
can't afford to let it go. This is my dream, so I gotta do whatever it takes to win my faith. I struggle through hell, just know I have it with taste. And if I break it and make it, at least I wouldn't need a break. Never need a label or nothing's gonna change it. Independent artists on the rise, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened to be televised. But don't wait, ain't gonna happen soon. Need to pay dues for a full lip pursuit, so I recommend you jump in my bus. My rep is still low and my budget isn't much, cause when we fam since day one, we recognize our potential to grow, we get our dreams done. Used to be all about me until I realized the bigger the blessings within the team. So I got a little selfless, working with a West, always better my best until I won that. Got a mind of a winner, refuse to be a quitter. This is my dream, so I just can't let it go. No, can't afford to let it go. This is my dream, so I gotta do whatever. I gotta do whatever. Thank you. Aside from being an artist myself, you can find me on all social medias at the moment. MACH space Keys. I also have a brother that's accompanying me. His name is Brother Elijah. Together, we're actually building a music group that's pretty much building positive music and just wanting to change people's lives through music. And if you guys are interested in joining us and just like knowing more about us, just contact either one of us. Thank you.
Okay, so I get so excited when I see people in their 20s just doing things out of their passion and wanting to influence the world. I just get so excited. So I met Mark at Project Extraordinaire, one of the functions that Quincy and Mikey had, and Mark was there, and it was a smaller space that I could actually hear the words really well, and I was so touched by his words. So I had to meet him. I met him and asked him, can we become Facebook friends? And he said yes. And I took a picture with him, and I got all excited. But that just really excites me when I just see people living out what they want, especially when they're young, right? They don't have to wait until later. But that just really inspires me. So thank you, Mark, for coming on up. Next up, not yet, Mike, sorry, after you. After this, we're gonna do Jen Quinn, who's going to be doing Jennifer Quinn Floral Design and Events. Woohoo!
Nancy had me first, but I got cold feet. I was like, can I go later? I'm not ready yet. So I'm going to pass out this list. I'm going to do an honorary system, so hopefully you guys will do this out of your own, honesty. So just write down referrals like that someone got engaged this year, someone's going to get married, someone's going to do something big, or any events that you think that they might need my services. Just write their name. If you don't know their cell phone, email, or anything like that, that would be fine. If you don't know it, you can give it to me later. During the intermission, I put out my business cards on your chairs if you don't have one. Vincent will help me give that to you. That's my significant other there. If you have any questions, just let me know, okay? So every referral you put in, get one ticket, and I'm going to raffle off one of the floral arrangements that I made today. So for Nancy's birthday, I made one for you. Okay, so I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Huynh. I am a full-time teacher over at Santa Ana Unified. I teach for the elementary school. They're a handful. And then like when I have events, I go to LA, I go get the flowers at 3 o'clock in the morning. I leave LA. I was like, I have to leave at 5:30. So get my flowers in time, leave LA, be home at 6, process the flowers, put them in the water, and then leave my house at 7 o'clock to be at work. So usually, like if I have an event, I'll put in like, okay, 40 hours of teaching, and then another whatever hours is usually 100 hours plus. And then I have my significant other. He helps me a lot. He does everything for me. So I have a lot of friends and family that help me out. So what I started off was, I have a little bit of OCD and I can't stay still. So I said, what am I going to do in the summertime? I taught in the summertime. I got bored. I'm like, this is so redundant teaching every single day for 12 months. Or, you know, if you teach summertime, you only get a month off. I was like, I can't do this. I need a break. My mind needs to be away from the kids. So I started doing flowers. I started working for this multi-million-dollar company called Square Root in Irvine. A sister of mine in church, she said, hey, I'm an accountant for this company. Why don't you work with us and do flowers? I was like, I like flowers, but I have nothing, I don't know anything about flowers. So I started going, started learning, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so amazed. It's like, this is like awesome things that they do, like from if you've ever been to an Indian wedding, they do hoopahs, they do extravagant like kind of like parades, and they have like, I saw a live elephant taking the groom on there, and there's like 5,000 people there. I was like, I don't even have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I don't know, like I don't know, they spend like so ridiculously so much money on flowers, right? So I've done like big extravagant ones, and I did like intimate one. Last week I did one in San Diego. I travel the world. I go to Cancun and do weddings. I did 3 in Pennsylvania. So, you know, trial and error. I started like, I started doing flowers with this company, and they shipped it to me. It was an arm and a leg, but it was quality flowers. Now I was like, you know what? I'll just ship my flowers myself. So that's what I do. So I do flowers, I do linens, I do rentals, chandeliers, I bake. I make macarons, I make paper goods, I make invitations, and I'll show you a couple of things that I make. So I'm going to be back here and showing you a couple things from my Facebook. A couple of you know me, like Sabrina and Kathy and Nancy. You guys have me as friends, so you can see that I do like arches with
Lights.
It's just like endless. And this is one of the weddings that I did with Square Root too. Like, as you can see, that's a sweetheart table filled with flowers. It's just, sorry, it's so small, I don't know why. Okay, that's a hoopah that we did at the, what is it called? Montage. If you know, like Montage, St. Regis, and all those bougie places. Yeah, I've done it all. It's fun. That was my baking party. I made aprons for all the girls. And then I made a gumball machine out of a fish bowl and a plant, whatever, a plant pot. I love Pinterest, so that's where I get my ideas from. So, you know, I made aprons for the girls. Let's see, I do like, I'm in love with orchids, so I do a lot of weddings. And people ask me, would you leave your teaching job to do weddings? Absolutely, but there are no benefits. But, so, I did a baby diaper tower, like a seven tier tower. I did like bachelorette parties in Vegas, like for Minnie Mouse. You know, there's just cake pops, and I painted the Hello Kitty thing. I do everything. You name it, I'll do it. I know, so I have like endless amounts of work. I work with big companies called Karen Tran. That big gigantic piece was like 14 foot tall. That's just the escort table that they had there. So, I know, it's ridiculous. That was the biggest wedding that I've done. It's like 11 bridesmaids. Yeah, candy bars that I've done. I have referrals from DJs to, you know, DJs to bakeries. So, Nancy, you didn't like that cake that much. I have a couple referrals you can go. I have friends in a lot of things. That was my Pennsylvania wedding. Oh, I did a locket for her. The bride had her parents' picture on there. So that was in Pennsylvania. You know, things like that. I just do a lot of random things. You can go endlessly on this. I was trying to find things that I could do, and I couldn't do that. That was at the Sheraton, the bridal show. This was my friend's passing. I did for his funeral. Just baby sprinkles. My sister's vet party, whatever. Dr. Wenyu. That was, yeah. So just designing cakes and stuff like that. So I like creating, being innovating, and I love bling. I love crystals, and I love anything that's shiny. And I make that. Everything. So.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. So the clipboard is being passed around. He loves doing flowers. All right, so next up, I have a very handsome presenter coming up. Sorry, ladies, he's already taken. And if you try to flirt with him, I will kill you. So Mike Mahan, oh, are you ready?
Yeah, I'll just grab some.
Okay, so let me just tell some stories about Mike while he's taking his time. I embarrassed him too much, buddy. Yay, Mike.
Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna steal this chair. Okay, my name's Michael Mahan. I am a licensed marriage family therapist. And one of the jobs that I've been working at for the past 5 years is with the Guidance Center. It's in Long Beach. I'm a school-based therapist there. Excuse me, this thing's heavy. So what I realized, what I do is I go into the schools and we work with children and teens in Long Beach that are through Medi-Cal. So it's kind of it's a cool little nonprofit because they provide mental health therapy for people that really can't afford mental health therapy. So I could probably do a whole talk on the whole DMH thing. But anyways, so what I wanted to do today is just kind of give you a glimpse of what something called play therapy could look like. And limited time, it's kind of hard to really define what play therapy is. I'm just going to put out a couple principles about play therapy and a couple assumptions. And then what I want to do is just show you what I have in this case, which is what I bring to all the kids, especially the younger ones I work with. So play therapy, you could look up and get a better definition, but basically one of the principles about play therapy is that, or an assumption that I'm going to make today is just that children communicate through play. Okay? Children obviously at different developmental stages can talk as well, but when it comes to like very deep things and sometimes things that they're not, I mean, maybe adults as well, but they communicate through play. And I'll explain a little bit more as we go through that. The other thing, kind of assumption I want to make is this, that in the play that children play, there's a lot of metaphors that come through, okay? So as a play therapist, a lot of my job is to look for those metaphors and then to just kind of be in that metaphor with that child, okay? So let's see, I have this the wrong way around. Always do this, I think. Okay, there's so many zippers here that I'm like, okay, there we go. So in here, my little baby's head's kind of squashed. Because one of the kids was being rough with him. But there's a baby. One of the themes or metaphors that we would look for is a theme of nurture. So sometimes some kids will gravitate towards something like a baby, and then they'll kind of start to do this sort of thing, and you, as a therapist, play therapist, you would kind of just notice that and say, oh, the baby likes to be held, or that, they might accidentally drop the baby, and you're like, oh no, the baby fell, and so as a therapist with children, a lot of the times, I don't know if you ever noticed, like, as adults, we can ask children like a million questions, and a child, because they, well, even as an adult, if you ask me a million questions, it's kind of like, okay, stop asking me questions, right? But for children even more so because of the, just developmentally, how language goes, as, I'm kind of getting mixed up, but anyhow, as a therapist, child therapist, play therapist, a lot of things that we do is make statements. So instead of saying, oh, like if you say that they dropped the baby or they were rough the baby, like it would be easy to kind of jump to the conclusion like, oh my gosh, well you dropped us a baby, or something like that. What you want to do is kind of stay in the metaphor and be like, oh, that baby was dropped, and that really hurt the baby, Because a lot of times when, as adults, when we just kind of jump at something that we might notice or think, with a child, it gets too close to something that's too scary to home, you know? So a lot of play therapists that's kind of like one way that we kind of stay in the metaphor, you know? And then they'll start to keep talking. They're like, yeah, the baby was dropped, and, you know, and the mommy didn't take care of the baby, you know, and then you get into other things. But let's see what else I got here. So there's a lot of toy animals here. This kit was designed, so there's some of the animals kind of come in groupings of families, so the children kind of associate, like, you know, there's a, they'll start to play with different family. I was thinking I had a different one right here. It might be in a different section. Yeah. Okay. So, this is cool. You'll be surprised how much stuff I actually have in here. This is a tent. Kids love this. There's a bottom out. And they'll come. That's like one of the first things they'll do is just kind of come in here and just sit in here. Come in here, or, you know. If I can get it to stand. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of cool because most kids will just kind of come in here and play normally, but a lot of times when a child is kind of like feeling unsafe, this is kind of a cool place to kind of come in and take refuge in. And it's like, you know, even as an adult, we can kind of like say to a child, let's go into the tent, you know, like when we're feeling scared, you know, this is a safe place. And it's kind of like a very visual metaphor that we can even introduce to the child. But children love it. So then, in addition to what I have with this play kit, is a bunch of these little kind of bags. Each of them have different things. One is army men. I don't know why kids love to play with army men. There's like shooting and fighting, you know. Let's see what this one is. Oh yeah, okay. So there's money in here, play money. Oops. There's kids love the handcuff thing with the I've been locked up like a million times. I'm like, don't put it that tight, or like, you broke the key in there. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm like being cool, be calm, but I'm thinking I better be able to get this off. There's a lot of themes with cops and robbers that kids like to play. You know, it has a lot to do with different metaphors can come out. One metaphor that can come out is about safety, you know, so it feels good to be the police, you know, and you get to lock up the bad guy and do that. So it just depends, you know, sometimes I have to be the bad guy. I'm like, okay, you know, and they're like, now you're going to jail, you know, and you shouldn't have done that, you know, you know, and sometimes they're kind of reenacting some things that they may have experienced as well, like as a parent, you know, scolding them for doing something bad, and, you know, so they're kind of like reenacting some different things. And they'll sometimes play the bad guy, and they'll reverse it and say, now you be the cop, and I'm the bad guy, you know. I'm going to steal all this money. And another metaphor that can come out of that is a metaphor of power, you know, so like, because it's, now I'm going to take the money, and you're not going to have that, you know, so, I mean, you know, these are all theories, and it's like as the more you're with the child, the more you can kind of experience what exactly going on. But part of it is, you know, a working theory that, you know, someone may have taken their power, and so that's where they're getting empowered in their play to feel free enough to take it there. And I'm not gonna, and you know, it's kind of like a testing, like how am I gonna respond to that? You know, is it gonna be okay for them to actually do that? Okay. Cars, kids love cars. There's like cop cars and all these different cars in here. There's a medical bag. Kids love this. It's actually pretty neat. I mean, it's not a mirror, but it's like reflective, and you got this little thing where you put in the temperature and it actually clicks and it'll say something different. I'm pretty surprised. You know, Band-Aid and all these things, but you know, usually like the medical bag, can represent also metaphors of nurture, but also, it could be like a metaphor of trauma, because, we experience something traumatic to the body, things that happen to us traumatic to the body can be traumatic. Even, for a child going to a hospital, it's pretty scary, and then, because my wife and I have an 18-month-old, so it's like and then of course they make the dad hold the child down when you got to give the shot, I'm like, oh, I want to make him look at her. But, it's traumatic, and then, experiencing that as a little child, you're like, oh, my mom and dad, they were a part of that, so there's kind of that, some different metaphors and things that can play out. These are some sensory toys, just like where, I know it looks kind of weird, but it feels good to kind of squeeze. A lot of these kids, have harder time to, when they're experiencing harder time to calm down, calm their anger, their anxiety. Sometimes you find different sensory things actually help calm what they call the lower brainstem area of our brain. Someone was talking about neurobiologics earlier. Let's see. Okay, this whole thing is like food and plates and cups and everything. You'd be surprised how many kids actually play with all this stuff and like, now you eat this, and then they say, oh, you just ate poison. You're like, oh, okay, and you're supposed to kind of just act it out and play along with the metaphor that they're giving, And, when you think about it, like, what would be the metaphor of being poisoned, Like, it's like, I mean, yeah, it could be very literal, like, I was poisoned, but it's more like, someone gave me something that I didn't expect was going to be bad, and it was bad, Someone I thought that was going to give me something nourishing, and, that I trusted, gave me something bad, Or, like, because you're eating it, so it's like, I'm thinking of something else. But, yeah, so, and then there's little puppets in here, so, oh, these things are fun. They're kind of just little blocks, but a lot of times in play therapy, it's a lot about setting limits, and because sometimes a child will have a harder time. This is probably good for parents too, like, because my child like throws things like crazy, like hard things, and it hurts. So it's a lot of, they may be doing that, and you're just like, oh, you really want to throw that? That feels great to throw, but let's throw this instead, And it sounds silly, kind of talking that way, but you'll find that when you actually do it, there's like, okay, yeah, let's throw this, And then now they're learning that it's you accept them. For, like that they like doing that. You validated the feeling that they had, but you were trying to teach them, redirect them in a kind of a positive way to do, to actually throw things that don't hurt people. Glasses are cool because you can kind of not just be cool, but feel a little bit of invisible, Can't see my eyes. And I think there's some other things that's more kind of like game sort of thing. But, as I pack up, the point of this, as I was saying earlier, is that children play, and they communicate a lot to us in their play. So, as parents, or even as just adults who may be around children, sorry, I always get this wrong. Okay, I'm not going to take my time to do this.
We actually wanted to see it.
Yeah. Now that I'm under pressure. Yeah. Like as adults, we have the ability to actually receive like how our children are trying to communicate to us, and to make a difference, to validate how they feel, because it's not easy being a child. You're not in control of everything, and a lot of these children have experienced some traumatic things, and trauma. There's like the act of trauma, but then there's even just the perception of trauma. So I was gonna, just to finish, I read this poem about play. It's entitled, Play With Me. Play with me. I tried to teach my child with books. He gave me only puzzled looks. I tried to teach my child with words. They passed him by, often unheard. Despairingly, I turned aside. How shall I teach this child? I said. I cried. Into my hand, he put the key. Come, he said, and play with me. And just an encouragement, you know. Play is fun, but it's also can be therapeutic and a way to just communicate with our children. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, got it.
Yeah, we did. Mike made me do a sand play, and then he psychoanalyzed me. I got tricked. I got explained. Thank you. But I'm really proud of my husband because he's been doing this for over 5 years, working with the students at Long Beach, and it's a very stressful job, you know, because you hear a lot of traumatic things that happen, and you know he's been working really hard for 5 years. You look suspicious. Okay. And he's actually going to be quitting his job at the end of this year. Can I share that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's actually going to pursue private practice.
Yay!
So it's a big step.
Yes.
So he's been wanting to do private practice for a long time, so he's taking a risk, and we're taking a risk too, and we're actually pretty excited for it. So to see what new things are coming up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Good job, babe. All right. So next we have Derek Stolberger. So Derek drove the farthest, farther than Kathy. Derek drove from Merced. He is my friend from, he's my friend from math, from my graduate school at Cal State Long Beach. We graduated a couple years ago. And he's super smart. So because of him, I passed. So here we go.
All right, Derek. All right. I meant to bring some visuals here, but I've been kind of busy this week. Exhausted, want to choke some of my students. I teach pre-calculus at UC Merced, and part of the aspect of this class is there's 800 students in it, most of them freshmen, and we tell them coming in, oh, you need to catch up on math because you're a freaking UC student. So you have to learn 281 topics of math by the end of the semester. Now think about that. We asked you to learn 281 topics in 15 weeks. Does that sound unreasonable? Actually, yeah, it kind of does. But as you know, that's kind of the state of our educational system right now. And every once in a while I just kind of think, was it always this way? Did I have to go through this? So this took me down memory lane here, story number one. We were doing a lab in AP Physics about pendulums, and don't have the visuals, but hey, I have some props here. So, here's a pendulum. This is a phone charger. A pendulum we swing it back and forth. Oops, probably should do it this way. We swing it back and forth, and the idea in this lab is we just measure the time it takes to make one motion back and forth. That's what the period of a pendulum is. And if we try that again, where it's maybe a computer charger here, see if this works out. We swing that back and forth. Oops, it's not quite where I wanted this to be. But the idea was, well, we're exploring, we're trying to figure out some of the science here. My group and I collected all the data, got all the numbers together, just filled out a bunch of information. And the numbers were all coming out the same though. And that really bothered me. And it bothered me so much, I actually walked back to class at the end of school just to talk to my AP calculus teacher, Mr. Masaoka. So I looked at the data, all these numbers were the same. I looked at the equations. I'm going to steal REI's board here. Period equals length over gravitational constant. And the point of the experiment was that we had two different masses here. I just swung the phone charger, just swung the computer charger, and like I was saying, the periods were all the same. And so I say this to my AP Physics teacher. Does this look right to you? Is this supposed to happen? And he says, yeah, I guess so. But Derek, can you explain what's going on? So, and it just came to me, just random guess. The math didn't matter. So at that moment, my calculus teacher reached out his hand, shook my hand, congratulated me on figuring that out. Story number 2. 9th grade, Algebra 2 honors. We were beginning our trigonometry component, and I hope I can squeeze this in. The teacher hands us this quick worksheet where we have to fill in the sine, tangent, and cosine values for 0, 5, 10 degrees, all the way down to 90 degrees. And we all bust out our calculators. We're all honor students, so we're obliged we do this. And we fill all this out. Let's see, just get some in here. And after about 20 minutes of this busy work, I mean, it's just a teacher's dream, right? We fill out a few of these numbers. I've been trying to rehearse this in my head this whole time, just to make sure I got it right. And after about 20 minutes, Mrs. Ruggiero asked us, do you see any patterns? It's like, okay. Well, when you had this all filled out, the numbers for sine and the numbers for cosine are the same. They just go in opposite directions. Almost everyone got that. But we just kept going and just filled this out because our teacher told us to do that. And while a lot of these numbers were really quite ugly, oops, didn't mean to do that one. What I noticed was there was something weird going on here. I mean, sure, there was some 1/2s. And in this row, for all you mathematically inclined, please don't steal my punchline here, I just kept staring at this over and over again, and finally just whispered a hypothesis to my group partner. We were sitting in groups of 4. I mean, for one thing, tangent of 45 degrees equals 1. Out of all these ugly numbers, tangent of 45 degrees equals 1, just plain old 1. So I had whispered what I thought was going on to my partner, and finally, after a couple minutes later, he's this big football player type of person. He just said, hey, Derek, raise your hand. So me, being this 9th grade introvert, I just slowly raised my hand. Miss Ruggiero, is sine divided by cosine equal tangent? And yes, that's what it was. So in this room full of honor students, I was the first one in my class to figure that out, and that felt fucking awesome. So, and when I go back, that's one of my favorite moments. The rest was history. I ended up doing a lot more math, majoring in math, grad school in math, met some cool people like Nancy along the way, and now I teach mathematics in hopes that some of my kids will feel this way at some point as well. So my take-home message is this, just to some of the parents in the room, future parents in the room, that if your kids are doing a seemingly tedious assignment in mathematics, science, or whatnot, or maybe they're struggling in play therapy or something, maybe just stand back, let them try to figure it out every once in a while. Because that curiosity, that creativity, that's what's going to keep them going and straight into college. Yes. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Derek. Thank you, thank you. So, math nerds rock. All right. Second to last is Kathy Pham, Urban Life's Become.
That was tough to follow. I hope I make more sense. All right, so I know we've been seeing her for a long time, and so this is not part of it, but I thought it would be fun to do a little stretch exercise. So go ahead and stand up. We're going to do the coconut stretch. If you know it, say it with me. If you don't, pretend you do. All right, so we're going to spell out coconut, C-O-C-O-N-U-T, all right? C! O! Other side, C! O! N! U! Pick that switch to boy. T! All right, guys. All right, great. Hey, my name is Kathy, and I'm excited to share something that I'm passionate about. I work for Urban Life in San Diego in the inner city, and I'm excited to be in the hood, I think because I listened to a lot of hip-hop music growing up, so I'm like, yeah,
It's real in my life. And so, it's just a bad joke. But as every time when my friends visit, they always ask, is it safe? Are we gonna be robbed? Is there gun violence? What colors should I wear and not wear? And so I'm like, not living in the worst country, just in the hood. That's all it is. And so, but as we take a look at the hood, as my coworkers and I take a look at the hood, we notice that new buildings don't change the neighborhood. And we notice that if there's more police, it doesn't mean crime necessarily decreases. If we add more parenting courses with the stacked, dense housing, does it really change anything? So there's still a lot of struggle. So when people say, oh, the struggle's real, is the struggle? Yeah, the struggle's real. But we also know that transform people transform neighborhoods. And so we hold on to that as our core belief, that transform people transform neighborhoods. And so, well, what does that look like, right? So we think back to like the OGs of the Bible, because we're down for that. And so there's these 12 people who changed the world. These 12 disciples, and they just changed the world. We're like, all right, let's try to do that. Let's do that with our students, because we strongly believe in leadership development through youth. And so we're like, okay, we're going to start a program, and we're starting it right now. We just started, we're like maybe a month in, and it's called the Come Up. And so the Come Up in urban, there's a whole different language, it's urban language, and the Come Up in urban language is trying to get ahead. To get ahead, sometimes through bad means, and sometimes through finding a bargain on the sale rack at REI, because that's where everybody shops at, you know? And so, and that's the Come Up. I got this $129 sweater, $50, right? That's the Come Up. And so we're like, let's design a program that's like the Come Up. We're calling it the Come Up. And so we are trying to help our students see that they could change their neighborhood through 5 different things that we're trying to focus on. One is spiritual formation, that matters to us. Mission formation, what we're trying to be about. Another thing is real job skills, like really trying to learn interviewing, being able to work on time, getting paid, right? A legal hustle, that's what I call it, a legal hustle. And we also want them to realize their gift setting, that they can make a difference with what they already have and what they can develop. And so we try to do these things and some other things. And so in the middle of this, I'm just reminded of maybe you or me when you were younger, going to Boomers, going to Chuck E. Cheese, or maybe you do it now at Dave & Buster's, where you play all these games and you get these tickets. And if you get a bad machine, you kind of rip out and get a couple more tickets. But you get these tickets, and you go to the counter and you can redeem these tickets, these ripped up little pieces of tickets, redeem it for some sort of prize to your liking. I like those snap bracelets. I thought they were really cool when I was 8-year-old Kathy, about this tall. So I really like those snap bracelets. And so thinking about those little tickets, I see those tickets as kind of like the stories of you guys, the stories of me, as I know some of your stories in this room, and the story of my students, where all the statistics are true. Broken family, right? 72% of African American families don't have a dad. Those are my kids, right? Probably 75% of my students have been sexually abused, right? Some of us here have experienced some of that craziness too. And so we're these fragmented, like fragmented tickets. But the cool thing is that you can redeem these tickets. And the cool thing is that God is in the business of redemption. And he's in the business of transformation. So he takes these tickets that don't value anywhere else. Like if you take those tickets, you go here, REI's not going to give you nothing, right? But God could take it and he could turn around and his story isn't over. His story is still moving. And so it's so crazy how, like, I get to see that, right? That I get to see each day some sort of crazy miracle. And I also get to see some crazy heartbreak of like, those are some bad decisions. And so in the middle of the Come Up, we were able to fundraise stipends for students. They get $100 big a month. Big money, $100 big, not really big money. But they get this money, but it's legal, right? So because last year, this was the problem. Everybody's cell phones were being stolen. And they were getting pawned at the shop. So every time we have youth group meetings, when we have outreaches, anything we have, everybody will steal all the cell phones and they'll sell it so they can make some money on the side. And I'm like, dude, like, how are we supposed to impact community when people can't come to anything we come to because they know their stuff's going to be stolen, right? So trying to be innovative and creative new things, we realized, okay, we need to come up as part of one of our programs. And so to wrap it up, it's kind of like you and I have an opportunity to really make a difference in the people's lives that are next to us, the people's lives right here where you are, and you could somehow touch students in San Diego. And so like that's hella powerful, you know what I mean? So I think when you want to inspire somebody, I hope that that's what we're thinking about. How can we really change how we live to impact those around us? And so some food for thought as we have delicious cake. That's something to think about. So thank you for your time.
Alright, so Kathy is too shy, yes she is shy, to say that what she does is she also fundraises her income. So I will say it for her. So I love Kathy. She lives in OC with friends, family. She has more friends than I do, yes. But she picked up her stuff and moved down to San Diego. And how long do you live there now?
5 years.
5 years. And she makes very little money. And because all of her money is fundraised. So she's constantly fundraising for her income so that she could spend her time with these youth kids and impact their life. So if there's any of you guys, so Mike and I have the privilege and the honor of supporting Kathy monthly. And actually, I feel it's a privilege for us because we get to be a part of what God's doing in Kathy's life, in the urban kids' lives. And we get to visit her and see what she's doing. So if there's any of you guys that, feel like you make money, but you're like, I want to impact people with the money that I make, please talk to Kathy. She's always looking for sponsors. She's also, the come up is also, because they paid the kids $100 a month, there's, how many kids? 9 kids? Students, 19.
2 lost their jobs because of poor decisions, so we'll,
oh, 7 now? All right,
9.
okay, so 9, okay, so 9, so they need people to help out with that, to sponsoring $100 per student. So Mike and I decided to sponsor one child for 1 year, one teen for 1 year. And they're constantly looking for that. This coming December, they're going to be coming up to Orange County and having a wonderful retreat at the Mahan residence. So the Come Up teens are coming up to the Mahan residence, and we're going to have a weekend talking about giftings, how they were designed to be gifted, and how they're designed to use it. So during that weekend, I am looking for people to help out and to be part of this by making food for the weekend for the teens. So if any of you guys are interested in that, talk to Kathy as well, or talk to me. Ooh, thank you, Ivan. So yes. All right, so it's 6:05. Do you guys mind if I take 5 minutes to do my presentation?
Do it.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna make it quick. So can you turn on? Thank you very much. All right. So my presentation is called Being Human. So how many of you guys have seen Walking Dead?
Oh man.
Okay, so half of the room. I don't watch it because I'm afraid of zombies. I'm so afraid that when I Googled up zombie, I got nightmares. So that's why I don't watch Walking Dead. But there are still other horrible pictures on Google. But this is a zombie, and we live in a culture right now where being the zombie culture is kind of cool. So when I think about what a zombie is, I think actually there's a lot of parallels with what a zombie is with our culture today. So a zombie drags their feet, right? Is this a good impersonation? Right? They drag their feet. In many ways, I think our culture, we drag our feet around life. We wake up. How many times do I read through Facebook? I'm Facebook friends with my students. And how many times do I read FML? Fuck my life, right? And I'm like, what? FML because, you lost your earring, But it's constantly F my life, And they drag their feet throughout life. And I think if we were honest, there's lots of times where we as well could be dragging our feet throughout life too. Just like, I have to go to work. I have to go to school. Oh my gosh, I have to wash the dishes. Oh my gosh, I have to get a career. It's like we drag our feet. Reactive, meaning the only time that we actually become alive is when something happens to us. Like, oh my gosh, now my husband or my wife is mad at me. Or, oh no, I got in a fight with my parents. Or something happens that we actually react. Instead of being people that go for something, we just react to life. We go through life reacting. Driven by the flesh, so zombies eat flesh, right? So, I think I don't have to explain that too much with our society, where we, in a way, are carnivores. We go about, when we feel lonely, what does our society say? Go have sex with people, right? And I'm just going to be honest, but we're carnivores. We go, and regardless of how it impacts other people or how it impacts ourselves long term, we just want to be driven by flesh. If you're hungry, just go eat whatever you want. Go fast food, whatever, regardless of how it's going to affect our bodies long term. And the last thing is zombies lack consciousness. So just a quick thing of what that means. They lack the ability to experience or to feel. They lack wakefulness. They have a sense of selfhood. They lack a sense of selfhood, of who they are, their identity, that they're an individual. They lack executive control system of the mind. They lack the quality of being aware of an external object. It's all about them, right? They're not aware of the people around them. So I think in many ways, our society is actually reflective of this zombie culture. And I think if we're honest, we are infected as well, because we live in this culture and we're not above it. We're part of it, and there's ways where we can be affected. So earlier when I had asked you guys, what do you guys think of when you guys think of inspire? I looked at inspire. When I think of inspire, I think to breathe life into. So today, you guys just had an opportunity to be breathed life into. Life was breathed into you. And it's really the opposite of being a zombie, right? Because when you breathe life into someone, they become alive. So to be inspired means to inhale, to come alive again. So in a culture where we are infected, one of the things that we need to do to combat that is to inspire other people and or to be inspired, to put ourselves in places to be inspired. And that's what I think becoming human is about. We live in a culture where the culture is going dead, and we have to fight to become human. So when I think of who's the most alive person that I know, I think of my son Sawyer. So I'm sorry, can you switch one of those lights just because I want people to see how cute he is? Thank you. What does it take to be human again? I say again because we once were human. We once were these kids that were so alive and present to the world, right? So what does it take? Just 3 things. One is being curious. Here's Sawyer seeing a fake frog. We went to the zoo and he's like, is it alive? He was so scared. But he's curious. They ask, well, he doesn't ask you, but through his actions, he's asking why, what else, what's going on, is there more? That's what we need to ask ourselves. When we are falling into, when things are happening around in our lives, asking the questions like, what's going on, why? When crap happens in our life. When we fall into addictions, when we're addicted to porn, to relationships, to whatever video games, whatever we're addicted to, I think it's a great opportunity to be curious instead of saying, oh, I'm so bad, or I shouldn't do that. Instead of doing that, it's just saying, I wonder what's going on beneath the surface. What's going on that I am constantly running to fantasies? What's going on for me? Why am I always so angry? I'm lashing out at people, I'm having road rage. What's going on? So to ask questions, ask yourself those questions instead of just, it just is what it is, it's everyone else's fault. It's just what's going on for me. Second thing is to be courageous. Here's Sawyer wandering into La La Land. But what I love about Sawyer and what about kids is that they love to take risks. So not only are they curious, they're actually not just going to be, I wonder, they're actually going to go out and take risks to find out what's out there. They take risks, they put themselves in different environments. So for us, being courageous means that we have to take risks. We got to step out of our comfort zone to actually to ask those questions and to actually discover what's out there. And I think a lot of times when we take risks and discover things, we're actually going to be really surprised. We probably have assumptions what's out there in La La Land. But when we start asking those questions, we have to be courageous to take risks. Oops. And the last thing is being a lifelong learner. Here's Sawyer. This is us at the Tanaka farm, watermelon tour. Because I want him to learn about the plants. I don't want him to see a picture of a watermelon. I don't want him to see a picture of a farm. I want him to go out and see it to learn. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us feel like after high school or after college, we stop learning, right? But I think that's when we grow dead, when we stop learning. So I'm very, very big on constantly put yourself in a place to learn things. Go to workshops, read books, do things that you'll constantly learn more about yourself, about the world around you. Just constantly learn. And when you learn, you actually grow. So I'm not going to go through this too much, but just a personal example for me this year, how I decided that I'm not going to be a zombie. Things that I want to do to grow. So some of the things I did this past year was because we're parents, I'm like, I don't know how to do this parenting thing. I kind of have an idea, but we took some parenting classes at our church. I joined meetups, of like, how do you do this and that? For our marriage changed because we had a child. Some new problems came up, so we went back to marriage therapy after taking a break, and it was great for our marriage. We did a group called Hold Me Tight. We read through a book, and we discussed it. It was a great conversation with us. Grace and Stephen was in it with us, and we got to know them more too. Different things. I'm really into writing. My career, you guys who follow me on Facebook see what I do with my math stuff. Really excited about how I merge coaching and math together. And doing things that I mentioned earlier, like doing Urban Life with Kathy, doing Royale with Janie. Those are ways that I grow and ways where I keep myself alive. I inspire people, or I put myself in a place to be inspired. This coming year, what I'm planning to do, or what I'm hoping to do to keep learning and growing, just what's immediately in front of me, as I mentioned earlier, our family role is going to be changing. Mike's going to be quitting his job, going to his own individual thing, and I'm figuring out whether I should go full-time, part-time. I'm super excited about doing the impact training. It's been 6 years, right, Lee? I forgot the number. But now I get to be on the training side. I get to experience something different. Before I used to be a participant, now I get to be part of the team. And I've joined this team of people that I've never met before. So most of them know each other. So I was a little bit scared, intimidated. There's like 11 of them. They sound really cool, I hope. I have a meeting with them tomorrow. So it's another thing that I'm kind of putting myself out there to grow. I'm putting myself in an uncomfortable situation to meet new people because I know I'm going to grow out of it. And then different things like that. So I'm going to skip this stuff. And I always say that there's a cost to something valuable. So when you want to do something to be inspired or to inspire to grow, there's always a cost to it. So we could always come up with excuses like, it costs too much money, it takes too much of my time, oh, I'm just comfortable where I am. That's what the cost is. So comfort, energy, time, money, fill in the blank. There's always going to be an excuse of why you don't want to do something that would cause you to grow. And the question is it worth it? And it's not just is it worth it, the deeper question is, am I worth it? And the deeper question behind that is, my life is worth it. And the answer is yes, yes, yes. Your life is worth it, you are worth it, it's all worth it to do all these things. So opportunities to inhale, so breathe. Opportunities to inhale, and I should have put to exhale as well, is to impact others, influence others, and also to receive. I mentioned the impact training. So I'll be talking to some of you guys after this event, or throughout the weeks, next few weeks, to see if anyone's interested in doing the impact training. Urban Life's the Come Up, I think December 6th to 8th, an opportunity to see what Kathy's doing, to be part of that, to cook food for us, come over to the Mahan residence. Project Extraordinaire, what Mike and Quincy talked about earlier, the counseling groups that Rika and Suzette, I keep saying Suzette, and Suzette are doing, they have that, and then fill in the blank. Anything else that you heard today, or anything else that you might have thought of. So right now, I'm going to pass around the sheet of paper. So can you guys just, grab a few. And what I'm going to ask of you guys is I want you to fill in that blank for yourself. And there's some markers here. Does anyone need markers? I think someone on the sheet. You already wrote what inspire means. I'd like you to leave tonight with writing down what is a way that you can either inhale or exhale. What is a way that you feel like, okay, I came up with an idea that I could be an inspiration to others, or I came with an idea where I need to receive inspiration from somewhere, somehow. So again, I have those opportunities listed in the previous one, or fill in the blanks. Does that make sense? Question? How are you, what's your takeaway, I guess, from tonight? What is your takeaway? How can you be an inspiration, or what can you do to be inspired yourself? What courageous, curious thing can you do? And you can leave it anonymous. I'd like to collect it just because I love to read it. And you can leave it anonymous if you want. This is a note just for me to read. And if you don't mind putting your name, feel free, but if you don't want to, that's fine too. So, what is your takeaway from today? Because I love entertaining you guys, but really, it would mean more to me that you were moved in some way. And would anyone like to share? I won't call on anyone. Would anyone like to share what they wrote? Or maybe I should call someone. Yes?
I just want to say that I was very inspired by Kathy's performance. And you know, when you think about like working in the urban, you think about like tough guys who's been there, done that, and going back and talking to these rough kids. So I would just like really, it's just like really admire this Asian girl, you know, going to in their tough area to work on that. And my husband is teaching in Compton right now, and it's tough. So just really like, you know, sometimes you feel like, oh, but I'm this, I'm so weak, I'm this, I can't do that. Just wow, you know. I think another person that, you know, because like when I think of like in the urban world impact, I think of gangster-looking guys like Sebastian, you know. But yeah, so I think it's really amazing, and I'm committed to cooking for that weekend.
Great, thank you. And Aizong makes delicious food, so great, thank you. Would anyone else like to share? Would anyone like to inspire us with what you wrote? Yes, Jen?
I learned that from someone else that whatever you do, you know, in life, whatever your purpose is, you're a teacher, you're an educator, you know, as for him working for Boeing or you work in the medical field, whatever it is, it's always about helping other people. And if you're doing it for yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. So whatever you do, you always have to, you know, help each other out, help others out.
Great. That's what makes it meaningful. That reminds me of Rika's cup too. We're able to help each other when our cup has all those patches filled and could overflow. So if we can't, maybe the question to ask is what holes are in my cup that I'm unable to give? Any other things that anyone would like to share?
This is kind of a practical thing, but I've been working on the fear of like running as exercise. I've always been able to do other forms of exercise, but not running. And I've worked on the brain part to it, and now it's just about getting up in the morning and doing it. And
Wow.
so I think that's something that I'm excited to do this year. I just turned 33, and that's a significant year, it feels like. So I think I would like to, you know, run and train for a race this year. And and
Great.
put things into practice that I teach in therapy.
Awesome. Very good. One last person. Anyone else would like to share?
I really loved the math lesson. Gosh, that was cool. He was so passionate, and you know, that's something that I'm pretty passionate about too. And yeah, I think that's awesome that sometimes you need to sit there and chew on something and then really try to figure it out. And when you do, you never know how that passion can grow into something else.
Absolutely.
Well, let's give our presenters a hand. And those that presented, please don't leave yet. I have a little gift for you guys, so please don't leave. And for the rest of us, you guys are welcome to mingle around, get some food, take it home, get lots of cake. There's too much. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday.